the girl dance. No creeping allowed, though, you just get a glance. Don't try to game, yo, just let the girl dance. The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. You can watch a show blow from a distance, but give us some bass sign, let the girl dance.
Hey everybody, welcome back to SLOTRODS. I'm Randy Silvis.
And I'm Tony Mollett.
Tonight, we're going to have the exciting conclusion of the 405 versus the 724. And we're at Route 66 Speedway inside of Tailspin Hobbies up in Apollo, PA.
And by the way, folks, I've gotten some questions while Randy was away saying, we don't know what Randy looks like. We've heard his voice, but he never makes it on the camera. I promise you by the end of this episode, you're going to find out what Randy looks like. The winner's bracket, round 2, including the 2 survivors from the loser's bracket, will be racing first. The first race is the Ace of Spades versus Mellow Yellow, then Magic 8 Ball versus SOB, Shelby versus the RT, Slick Trick versus Cobra, Murder Nova versus Kelly's Corvair, the Grand Gia versus the Cannonball, Rambunctious versus Beelzebug, and Venom versus the Little Big Chief. And Cam's Mustang managed to pull the bye.
First up, we have Kelly Calkins' Ace of Spades versus Michael Mack in Mellow Yellow.
Michael Mack got away with one here. He switched lanes before he went across the finish line. But then the Ace of Spades hit him from behind and knocked him back into his lane, and everybody that was standing there missed it. So Michael Mack moves on, and Ace of Spades goes down.
Next up, we have Drew Hall and his Magic 8 Ball versus Tony Mollett in the SOB.
And who's the other one? Keith, you're good.
Ready?
Okay, they're good.
Down.
He got me out of the gate, and I did everything I could to reel him back in, but I ran out of real estate, and when we crossed the finish line, I was crawling up his quarter panel. Next up, we have the current number 1 in the 724, Michael Mack and Shelby, versus Keith Bean in the RT. Rolling.
Somebody was
Rolling. Keith did that the only way you can do it. He chopped a tree down and jumped out on that Cobra, and that Cobra did everything he could to catch back up to that RT, but the RT just managed to stave him off long enough to get across the finish line.
Next up, we got my brand new Mustang called Cobra versus Tony and Slick Trick. Get him to the track.
Yes, sir.
Drew, are you good? Mike, are you good? All right, Jeff. And there's the advantage of having gone through the loser's bracket. That car's been raced so much tonight, it just keeps getting faster and faster. Keeping hope alive for the 405, we have the Murder Nova versus Kelly's brand new build, the 68 Corvair.
I'm ready.
Mike, hit it.
Boy. Whoa.
Nice.
Who was that again? Murder Nova?
Hey, Murder Nova.
Well, the Corvair was slow off the jump. Looks like the Murder Nova keeps hope alive. Up next, we have Keith Bean in his Cannonball versus Tony in the Grand Gia.
Mike, are you rolling?
Hit it. Some of them, as you tighten it, they move. So.
This just seemed to be a reoccurring theme for me all night long. I was trying to catch up to that Cannonball, but I just couldn't get him before we got to the finish line. Next up was Michael Mack and Rambunctious versus Beelzebug, who by then was being driven by Anthony from Tailspin Hobbies. Kelly was racing on a broken leg and did the best she could, but when the loser's bracket came around, she had to head home. Cam running. Hit it.
Whoa, how did that go at the end? What lane? Left lane.
Imagine how well you'd have done if you'd have gone just a
I know. By a fender. Left lane by a fender.
Some have been shot by.
Dude, that little bug is so quick. Even though Anthony was sleeping at the line, he still beat that truck.
Yeah, but that's a bold strategy you don't want to try with the 724 for very long.
Next up, we have Xavier in Venom versus, all the way from Oklahoma, Little Big Chief.
We good?
Good.
All right.
We got Big Chief here.
Ouch. Xavier spun a gear on the line. Well, still made it quite a ways into the tournament for a rookie driver. All right, it's not cutting time now. We're down to round 3. It's Mellow Yellow versus Little Big Chief. Slick Trick versus Beelzebug. The Midi Murder Nova versus Cannonball. The Magic 8 Ball versus the RT. Cam's Mustang luckily pulled the bye again and moves on to the next round. The 405 is still alive and still has 2 dogs in the hunt. Let's get it on.
First up, we have Mellow Yellow versus Little Big Chief.
Double R. All right.
Now, if this wasn't the damnedest thing you ever did see, both of them spun a gear. First, Big Chief spun a gear, and Mellow Yellow started to pass him up. But then Mellow Yellow had a catastrophic gear failure and froze right before the finish line, allowing Chief to get around it.
There's something you don't see every day.
Next up, it's Slick Trick versus Beelzebug. I'm going to have my hands full on this one. You good?
I'm on.
Mm-hmm. Everybody up and running?
Running. Oh, look at that. He's slamming on that control.
That was a good race. You stuck pretty close.
Yeah, it's difficult to do with that car.
Next up, we have the Murder Nova versus Keith Bean in his Mopar funny car, the Cannonball.
Then I would say the Murder Nova has his hands full. Right about the middle of the racetrack, that Cannonball managed to get his nose out in front of that Nova and just hung on all the way to the finish line. But that's all right. Big Chief is still in the race. And with him, the hope for the 405 is still alive. Next up, we got Drew Hall in his 1940 Ford he calls the Magic 8 Ball versus Keith Bean in the RT.
Tablet ready? Good. Wasn't ready.
Drew said it best. He slept on that one.
Yep, and that means the RT will be moving on. That brings us to the semifinals. Beelzebug versus the RT, Cam's Mustang versus the Cannonball, and Little Big Chief gets the bye.
You know, that bye run's exactly what the 405 needs right now.
I'll say. Well, first we got the RT versus Beelzebug.
That should be a 30-second scale.
It's like that bug has unlimited top end.
The RT got the jump. That still didn't help him. That bug was gone.
After 2 lucky bye runs, Cam is back with his Mustang, but boy, he got his hands full. He's going up against Keith in the Cannonball.
I'm ready.
Hit it.
Sleeping on the line's never good with the Cannonball. You're never coming back from that one.
Yeah, Keith and the Cannonball did what they do. Good job, though, Cam. For a first-timer, you made it all the way down to the wire. And then there were 3. Beelzebug versus Big Chief, Cannonball gets the bye, and he'll have to race the winner for all the marbles.
First up, we got Beelzebug versus Little Big Chief, still keeping hope alive.
I hate to tell him, but he has his hands full.
Running.
Hit it.
Damn, man.
And he had the whole shot.
Well, he's slamming that.
Man, ever since she got that new black body for that Beetle, that thing's unstoppable.
Man, you should know new paint makes a car go 30% faster. Okay, that brings us down to the final race. Beelzebug versus the Cannonball. Let's get it on.
Rolling, this is the last race for all the marbles. Well, the bug got the jump, and we know how that usually ends up.
That means that Beetle's going to win every time.
It's been a great day of racing. It came down to 2724 drivers. Can't ask for much more than that. And Kelly's bug made it all the way. Anthony, thank you very much for being a substitute driver. You did a hell of a job, son.
And we want to thank the 405 for coming out racing. And hopefully we see those guys again soon. And our winner is Beelzebug. Tony, take us to the winner's circle.
Champagne.
Well, we got champagne with gold flakes in it from one Michael Mack, and Kelly has shown everybody how to win the King of the Tournament trophy. Right now, 2 out of the 3 trophies are being held by the 2 women in our group. The girls don't just come to play in the 724, they come to win. Congratulations, Kelly. Let's have a little
Wait.
Wait.
salute. And that just leaves me with one more duty. I made you all a promise at the beginning of the show tonight. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us out here at Tailspin Hobbies at the Route 66 Raceway. Until next time, I'm Tony Mullen.
And I'm Randy Silvas.
And you've been watching SLOTRODS! I told you you'd get to see them.
Well, there goes my anonymity.
The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. No sleeping allowed though, you just get a glance. Don't try to swim game, yo, just let the girl dance. The answer is no, you ain't got a chance. She's out of your league, just let the girl dance. You can watch a show blow from a distance, but give her some bass on, let the girl dance.